Alright guys, so time for another comic book review sent to me by my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, thank you so much for another comic. This is the next book of the little extra haul he sent me, and this is an image book by Ryan Parrott by the name of Rogue Sun. Now, if the name Ryan Parrott sounds familiar, that's because Ryan Parrott's the new writer on Power Rangers. He also did the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover and the second one. I actually got to meet this guy. Actually, funny story, I didn't realize, because I was like, who wrote this? Because I didn't even notice Parrott's name. And I was like, wait, Ryan Parrott? Oh, it makes sense because, fun fact, this is tied into another universe. This is tied into Radiant Black, which I still need to read. But yeah, this is, and Ryan Parrott and Kyle Higgins are actually BFFs in real life. So it's kind of funny, and it's kind of cool to kind of see that. Now, what is Rogue Sun? Rogue Sun is basically an image book set in Louisiana. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see a superhero comic in Louisiana that isn't like a muck monster. But Rogue Sun basically tells the story of a young man named Dylan Siegel who finds out his father, Marcus Bell, was the superhero of New Orleans known as Rogue Sun, and he's been estranged from his father, and his father basically hands him the stone to become the next Rogue Sun. The catch is that his spirit is still in there, and he's trying to find his father, and he's going to help his father's spirit find their killer. This comic is not what you think it is. This is, if you think it's a estranged father and son, and they have, bonding throughout the whole story, no. The dad's a dick. Like, the dad openly admits that, like, I never loved any of my kids, because he left his wife, who was pregnant with Dylan, and then went off to have a kid with another woman, and had two of them, one of whom tries to kill Dylan, and yeah. No one in this comic is perfect. Even Dylan, like, this comic literally says, I bet you've heard this story before, like a down on his luck kid, but he's got a heart of gold, and, like, everything's gonna be okay because he's gonna reconnect with his dad. This comic says, sit your ass down. You don't know shit. Because this comic basically takes everything you thought about young superhero books and literally turns it on its head, because it's like, yeah, of course he's going to be maladjusted. His father basically ditched him at a few years old and had another family, and then, I'm really a superhero, and also I hated that family too. Because, Dylan is a bit of a bully, and he's unapologetic for it. He's also emotionally manipulative to his girlfriend, his kind of girlfriend, and two other people. His mom is also maladjusted, and the family that Marcus had, his dad, Dylan's father, Marcus, that's his father's name, Marcus, is also not okay with his other family. So this comic is very much like, did you think this was going to be another, like, I can't write Spider-Man or X-Hero and I'll just do whatever? Nope. This comic also has this brilliant thing of, like, telling you enough, but also intriguing you for the next volume. Because Rogue Sun is very tied to magic, and it's very clear that there's more going on than what you realize. There's a big villain, but you don't see him. There is a major villain in here, but I don't want to spoil the reveal. They do reveal who murdered Dylan's father, and I'm not going to spoil that, but they do have a major villain who they're not building to yet. They are building up to, and it's kind of cool that we get, like, a cool, like, mini rogues gallery for him. Like, it's kind of cool to see original villains in here. Like, there's one named Billy Bloodmoon, who's a werewolf vampire, and that's kind of cool. We also have Demonica, who's a succubus. You have Suave, who's like this swordsman thief who straight up looks like Cobra Commander. I'm not even joking. Like, hang on, let me show you real quick. Like, just to prove a point. Like, it's straight up Cobra Commander. Like, hang on, let me just look for the... What's a good image? Because it's straight up Cobra... The moment you see it, it's Cobra Commander. But yeah... There's no real good image I can show you. Well, that'll work. Yeah, literally, it's just Cobra Commander. It's just Cobra Commander, but in like with an energy sword. That's really it. And I thought that was funny. I'm like, how did you get away with that, Parrot? How did you get away with that? So, This comic also ends on a major downer note for the first volume, because you think, oh, everything's gonna be all right. It's a tough, first time for Dylan, and he's gonna get around to it. No, this comic literally just says, nah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do the happy-go-lucky, stay tuned next time, there's a major cliffhanger. No, this comic literally says, again, Ryan Parrott literally says, look, I don't get to do what you would think would happen in a young superhero book with Power Rangers, because I imagine Hasbro does let him get away with stuff, and he has written like good stuff with these characters, but he doesn't really get to do like the stuff you would really have if these were characters who are essentially child soldiers. So he gets to play with this, and he gets to be his own boss about it. There's nothing really I can say that's really a negative, other than there's no real negative here, because this book just goes in a way you did not expect. It's just a book you did not expect, and it's part of a bigger universe. Yeah, an Image universe within the Image universe. That's kind of cool. So, do I recommend Rogue Sun? Hell yeah. I straight up recommend Rogue Sun to the nth degree. This is a great first volume. I can't wait for the second volume. This got me very much engaged. And if you're curious, the first, as with most Image books, the first volume is $9.99. That's how they get you. They hook you with a $10 first volume, and then it's like a drug. It's like, oh, it's cheap the first time, but you got to pay a little more for every hit. So that's the trickery of the brilliant trickery of Image books with their first volumes, always $10. But it's also, if you don't like it, it's not so much of a financial loss to you. Like, that's also kind of cool. Like, that's what I've always liked, is that even if you don't like it, you've just been like, oh, that was just $10. Oh well. But then again, in this economy, $10 is a lot. Anyway, yeah. So once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this book. Chris, thank you so much for this. And yeah, if you've read Rogue Sun, just comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.